When we think about the person of Christ, we can't think of him apart from his service or his ministry. The Gospels give us original footage. It's like watching a documentary. There's the original footage of Jesus of Nazareth on earth. What did he do? How did he respond? The New Testament epistles are like the expert commentators who explain what we've seen in the Gospels. But the Old Testament gives us sketches or silhouettes of what the Messiah will be like even before he comes. And one of my favorite descriptions of Jesus and his service is in the Old Testament, in Isaiah's servant songs. That is, 4 songs in the Hebrew in which Isaiah progressively unveils what kind of servant Jesus Christ will be. What is it he will do, and what will be the result for those that he rescues. And these show up in Isaiah 42, 49, 50, and 53. In Isaiah 42, God directs the gaze of all of creation, and he says, "Behold, or look at my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, in whom my soul delights." Jesus is the man for the job, but he is also the delight of the Father. He comes to bring justice to the earth, that first song says. Chapter 42 says he comes and he sees people who are like a bruised or broken reed, and he repairs them instead of snapping them off. They're like a candle that is flickering, and he trims the wick so they can burn brightly. The end of the song says that he will come forth from his tent like a warrior with a battle cry, and all the earth is called to rejoice. Now that's the first song, but the second song, things are different. In chapter 49, we find that there's resistance to what he's come to do. He's perfectly prepared. He's like an arrow that God himself has honed. It's accurate and straight. He's like a sword that's sharpened by God and then kept for battle. But when the Messiah comes, we find him saying to God that I feel as if I've spent my strength for nothing, as if all my labor is producing nothing. But the trial of his faith, it comes out pure as gold, and Christ says that his reward is with the Father. And the Father's response to the Messiah in that song is wonderful. He says, it's too small a thing for you just to rescue Israel, the very thing that he seems incapable of doing as the Jews are rejecting him. He says, I will send you as a light to all the nations. You will be a covenant, and even the kings and princes will come and bow before you. Then in the third song, it continues to unfold. Israel is an unfaithful servant. She's acting like a woman who's been divorced and she's looking around for a new husband, but God is her husband. She's acting like a slave who's been sold, looking for another to obey, but God is her master. Unlike Israel, it says that the Messiah will be awakened every morning and the Father will teach him, and he will have words to sustain the weary. We certainly see that in the New Testament. And when the Father awakens him morning by morning, and he's sitting there learning from the Father with the Scriptures before him, even when the Father reveals that what he wants him to do next is the cross, it says the Messiah will not turn away from that command. In the final song, 53, it opens up with the astonishing picture that the Messiah is not embraced, but rather rejected by his people. But that's God's plan, because God is going to put all the shame of the sin of his people on the Messiah, and he will become a sacrificial lamb. But in doing so, he will be victorious, and he will gather together a great company of people made righteous.